Like Ashley said, my name is Nate Brawley. I am happy to be with you this evening. This event last year, 2020, was our last event as a group. We Last year this event was in Benson, Prescott, and Holbrook, and as our group left Holbrook, it was the beginning of our working from home, and we have been working from home since then. So we're grateful that you're with us. As was said, I'm going to talk to you about value-added programs, and in looking at and thinking about my topic this evening and preparing my thoughts, my presentation, my my thoughts kind of revolved around a couple different questions. One was who are our today's beef consumers, and where do they get their information? So I looked at these pictures here, and I thought, to people buying meat today and buying food today, it has changed. We have 300, roughly, or almost 330 million people in the U.S. So that equates to almost 1 billion meals a day. And again, I think where are they getting their information, and especially when it comes to buying and cooking meat. So this first picture, again, I think creating meals and feeding our families has changed. It's more of an expedition now. We post the before, the during, the after. How what our menus were, what our recipes were, what things looked like. We're always posting pictures, right? And then I don't know if everybody knows this Salt Bay guy, but he has turned steak into an art, cooking and preparing it, and just even seasoning it to be something not usually as we see it. And then obviously the impossible burger, that is something that we're seeing more and more. And so again, I ask myself, are they getting correct information? Are consumers today getting correct information? And how, as beef producers, can we combat misinformation and still be profitable in the industry? So let's talk a little bit about some of those misconceptions. This is coming from the 2018 Responsible Beef Exploration. It basically says that 43% of consumers believe that cattle live in confinement all their lives. So this is what almost half of consumers believe cattle live. That's where they're born and raised, and that's where their lives end. Along those same lines, issues for consumers, they think that the general consensus is that beef production is a large-scale farms and ranches that operate like large corporations, that they're focused on money, that there's inhumane treatment of animals, that they're overcrowded. Some of the horrible things that we see on the news every once in a while, that's basically what they think. And that this smaller family-owned is basically something that is non-existent, that is slowly dying. And then impacts on their purchase behavior. Consumers recognize they make purchasing decisions based on various aspects, and I find it interesting that the price of beef is kind of in the middle of the pack, but the quality, taste, and appearance of that beef ranks higher. I'm glad that it does. If we can produce something that's tender, juicy, and flavorful, they will buy it. And I think that is something to key on. But I thought that was interesting that the price of beef is kind of in the middle of the list. For concerns regarding how cattle are raised, I think the blue box is the most interesting here. That among family food enthusiasts, it shuffles a little bit, and diet, crowding, and environment are more at the top of the list. But I think it's important for producers to recognize and realize that this is a pretty good list of things that they are worried about. And so I think if we take that information, we can use that to our advantage. But that's not who we are. We're not, most of the time, especially in Arizona, that's not who we are. We're not focused on, only worried about the money. I don't think hardly any of us practice inhumane practices. We strive to be as less stressful as possible. We're small family operations, most of us. And again, coming from a small operation, it can be scary to think, how can we be successful and make money in an industry that is constantly under attack. So I'll tell you about my story. Again, like Ashley said, I'm involved in the family operation and raising the 5th generation of little cowboys and cowgirls in Stafford, Arizona. When I was these kids' age, I went to the ranch with my grandpa, and that's where I learned to be passionate about the beef industry, passionate about being a cowboy. That's where I learned. That's where I learned things from an early age that he cared about the range, he cared about the ranch, he cared a lot about the cattle, and that those cattle were that they made, that obviously that they made him money, but that he cared for them in a way that went beyond just the dollar sign. And so in 2017, we went through some ranch succession, and the decision making part went to my dad. And so again, we're grateful to have the ranch in the family. Like I say, we a lot of our family time and family things revolve around going to the ranch and being a part of it. But it's still, there's some business making decisions that have to be made. And so in 2017, like I say, we started looking forward to how can we make some progressive changes to the operation to be more successful and be more profitable, and try to get ahead of some of these trends that we don't like what we see on TV and on the internet. And so again, I want to kind of touch on those, on one of those, which is the value-added programs, and just touch briefly on them. I'll start with a video. Betsy, can you see the video, or do I need to switch screens here?
Yeah, we can see it. Push play and see if it'll work. Does it have sound right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so we're not hearing your sound, Nate.
Can't hear it. Well, can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah. Oh no, we can see the still seeing the YouTube. You might have to unshare, reshare.
Okay, well, we can skip the video. Basically what it is it's a superior livestock video. It's in 2014, and those calves that weigh 425, those steer calves that weigh 425 pounds go for over $3 a pound. And at the beginning of the video, Superior does a very good job at highlighting the value in those calves, and they talk about the value added part of those calves. Like I say, that's what I really like watching that Superior sell, because you get to see some really quality cattle. And that's my favorite part about that video is I like to see a group, an operation that goes to the work and effort to invest in their operation, invest in their cattle, and then they get the return on them like they should. And like I say, so they get basically they're almost $1,300 a head. And like I say, Superior does a really good job at the beginning of highlighting those value-added programs of those steer calves. So again, going on the value-added programs, for these programs, it takes basically we're taking a commodity and creating additional value through management practices, and then marketing that commodity in such a way as to be paid for the additional value created. So, in my opinion, value-added programs are programs that we can utilize to increase profit and show consumers that we are passionate about producing beef in a quality, humane way. So this is going off of the Superior website. This is just a very, very small list of different programs that individuals can get involved with. I would say at this point that it's important when discussing value-added programs that you have a realistic picture in your head or in your mind of what your operation is and what it can do when talking about these value-added programs, because there is a cost associated with being involved in these programs. That cost goes to, whether there's a third-party audit or the RFID tags, there is a cost associated. So depending on which program you participate in, be aware that there is a cost. And that, again, will depend on which program you're in. And like I say, it's important to have a plan when getting involved with these programs, because basically it's not something that you just sign up for and poof, you get that added premium. It's something that you have to really work for. So what is the value added? A big one to me, and Dwayne kind of touched on it, is the genetic side, the breed selection. If you're going to invest in quality genetics as a beef producer, I want to have a premium for those for that investment. I want to get something back for that investment. So that's definitely part of it. Your management, how you operate how you manage your operation. Are you castrating your calves? Are you weaning your calves? Backgrounding your calves? Vaccinations play a very, very big, important role. Do you have a breeding season? Do you have some uniformity in your calf crop? You need to highlight those specific management practices that are valuable to other levels of the food chain. So again, you kind of have to think of it as what is the feed you're looking for? What is the processing facility looking for? And ultimately the end consumer, who is going to be buying this end product. And then I think that those consumers are what helps drive that market. So we want to think about what do they value and try to give them what they want. And obviously there's value in healthy cattle that stay healthy, that are feed efficient, and as Dwayne talked about, that are high grading and high yielding calves. So part of the value added program, there is a third party verification process. The two that I'm most familiar with is IMI Global and Technotrack. Some of these others are smaller ones that I don't have a lot of association with, but I think this is a crucial part of being involved in these programs. So again, IMI Global and Technotrack are some of the more known ones, and we'll talk about some of the others. For the third-party verification process that my family went through, you submit your application. It's basic ranch information or farm information. You do have on certain programs you have an on-site audit. Ours, we didn't have to go to the ranch or anything, but he did want. They want to see things like where you keep your medicine, where you keep your vaccinations, where do you keep your supplies, where do you keep your feed additives if you have any, do you have those type of things? And then after the audit, you're either approved or not. Now it's important to realize and to think about this audit. I think people hear, oh no, I don't, audit kind of has such a bad tone to it. People kind of get turned off when they hear that, oh, you're going to have an auditor come and look at your place. That to me, we need to change that in the industry. Those auditors are there to help us be successful as beef producers. They want us to get approved. They're successful when we are successful. So again, I think we really need to kind of change the way we think about that auditor, because they're really the ones that can kind of help us get down a good path to get more for our calves. So a couple of the programs, NHTC has already been highlighted this evening. It's a USDA approved, non-biased third-party audit that verifies the source, age, and non-hormone treated status of your calves. That's why that third-party audit is important. The important thing about some of these programs is a lot of them are things that you're already doing. A lot of us in our operation, we're not giving any added hormones. We're not giving any hormones or antibiotics to our cattle. So basically, some of these things are basically you're getting paid for things that you're already doing. And so I remember when I first learned about value-added programs, I thought I couldn't believe that certain guys were getting paid for things that we were doing. And I thought, well, why aren't we getting paid for those things? So again, a lot of you are probably already doing these things. As discussed this evening, NHTC cattle do qualify for export to the European Union. They're stricter on what goes into their beef. There's an on-site audit, and the other thing that I think turns people off of some of these programs is, like the bottom says, that NHTC cattle must be sold to an approved NHTC location. I think people think, well, no, that really limits me. That limits my options for marketing my calf crop. I think opposite. I think if you're going to put your stamp of approval that these cattle are what you say they are, then they're going to be in more demand. Those NHTC feed yards and whatnot are going to pay more for those calves. So again, don't think of it as it's shrinking our options. It's actually opening things up for us. It's adding value to our calf crop. The GAP program, Global Animal Partnership. This was a big one. It's not a one-size-fit-all program. Basically, there's tiers that are set up, and each tier or each level is no antibiotics ever, no added growth hormones, and no animal byproducts. And there is a third-party audit every 15 months for every ranch. Now, this was a big one. Like I say, in my area, I don't hear about it as much. There was a little bit of a breakup between GAP and IMI Global, and so some of the guys that used to do it are no longer in my area. But this was one of the higher paying programs. If guys were involved, this was a higher paying premium program. So here's the tiers in the GAP program, and like they say, it's not a one size fits all. And some of them, if you look at it, some of them probably may not be doable for your operation. It definitely they allow you to be flexible, but some of them just aren't feasible for some Arizona operations. But you can work through those, and obviously they tend to think that the higher you get, the more value you have in your calves. Again, it depends on your operation. Verified natural beef, certified natural, requires third-party audit. And some of these are very similar. So a lot of guys, get signed up and they get signed up for 3 or 4 different kind of programs. No antibiotics, no growth hormones, no animal byproducts. And again, cattle have to be sold to a certified location also. The VAC 45 program, this is another big one. The VAC 45 program is fairly, it's comprehensive on its vaccination protocols. The other big one is that calves must be weaned for 45 days prior to delivery. And I think a lot of people think, gosh, that's a long time, but there is significant research on calves that have been weaned for longer than 30 days compared to less than 30 days. So again, this is a big one. The video that I showed, those calves were VAC 45 and the VAC 45 program. And again, I would say from sitting here looking in, work with a trusted vet, work with your county extension agents, work with your third-party auditors. Again, they can help you get that program figured out. It is, again, it's comprehensive, but it's not rocket science. It's not hard. And that's one of the things that I see in the industry is guys say, well, I'm giving my calves an 8-way. How come I'm not seeing a premium for that vaccination? Well, there is more to it. And so anyways, like I say, VAC 45 is definitely one that definitely pays premiums. One of the others that I'm excited about and is fairly new to me is the ACES High program in New Mexico. It's run through New Mexico State University, and it's basically a program put on by the university to highlight quality cattle. One of the things I like about it is that producers must be BQA certified, which I'll talk about in a little bit. You have to have a premise ID that goes along with those RFID tags, and works with IMI Global as their third-party verifier. What I like about it is that the local sale barns, they'll hold special sales for those ACES High quality cattle. You know, those operations that are signed up in that ACES High program, they get highlighted at the sale barn. I think that's neat that New Mexico's trying to show value to the cattle that are raised there. So BQA, beef quality assurance, again, it was
Uh-oh, we got to freeze up. Give us a second here. Come back to us, Nate. Stafford.
Well, we've done pretty good if this is our only freeze up for the moment.
Okay, he's
And
gone off and coming back on, I think.
yeah, he just dropped off. We'll give him a second to come back.
So Ashley, it's your turn to entertain us till he comes back.
I don't think you want me to sing. That's not going to go very well.
All right. Who can sing? Duarte, can you sing? He's staying silent. Me.
Yes, welcome to the era of Zoom meetings, huh?
Just going to message him and see if he's coming back. There he is. He's back.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Okay, unmute, and you look like you're back with us there, Nate.
oh lovely.
Okay. Back to you.
Okay, let me get back there. So sorry. Okay, how about now? Can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. So BQA was highlighted this evening already, but beef quality assurance is something that the industry does to combat misconception and misinformation for the industry. So according to BQA, their mission is to maximize consumer confidence in and acceptance of beef by focusing the producer's attention to daily production practices that influence the safety, wholesomeness, and quality of beef and beef products through the use of science, research, and education initiatives. It's a voluntary program. We usually teach this at the end of this in-person meeting, but it's nationally coordinated, but state implemented, and includes best practices guidelines around beef production at all levels. And what I like about BQA is that in when you take the class, you learn things about basic animal husbandry, record keeping, and those are all things that you can implement in your operation that add value to your operation. Good records, low stress handling, all those things add value to your operation. And it's one of those things, BQA is one of those things that some facilities are requiring it, making it mandatory for those calves. Now, they won't buy cattle from operations that aren't BQA certified. So it's definitely becoming a bigger thing, and I think it should. So follow-up, value-added programs allow producers to capitalize on management practices they are already doing. A lot of us are vaccinating our calves. Maybe we add one or two, and again, we add value to our end result. Low stress handling, defined breeding season, calf uniformity. Again, if you're not doing that, it does pay to be able to have you know, a lot of these places like Superior, they have a hard time buying split loads or small loads. You know, they want a bigger load. So it definitely pays. No antibiotics, no added hormones. Again, a lot of these things are things we're already doing as producers in Arizona. Now, the next 2 points are very, very important. Do the marketing first and the production second. Again, you need to have your end result in mind when you start down this value-added program path. Know where and how you will sell the calves you intend to produce, and maybe even who you'll sell them to. Then go back and create the calves that market wants in a way that makes economic sense to you. Again, we kind of talked about not every operation is the same. Not every operation could be GAP certified. It may be difficult for you to be NHTC certified. Having a marketing plan is obviously the first right step. Knowing how you will market your calves certainly helps narrow your choices and ensures that you have the potential to reap a reward for your added work. That was Dr. Bill Mize in a beef magazine, and I really liked that. But again, I would stress know where you're going to market your calf crop, because if you don't, you'll have a hard time capturing that added value. Again, it's pretty tough to be involved in these programs and then to go to the sale barn and try to get that added premium. It's pretty tough. I'm not going to say it can't be done, but again, it depends on who the buyers are there that day. It makes it pretty difficult. So again, with the added cost and some of the added work, it's very rewarding if you can capture that added value. And then value added programs help beef producers take advantage of what we can control and overcome what we can't. Again, things like, you know, misguided consumers. Again, that a lot of that is out of our control to some extent, but by doing some of these value added programs, I think it shows consumers that we care about the end product. We care about how these animals are raised, and it can combat that. So my challenge to you, to you all is pick something in your operation, whether it be big or small, and work towards it. It doesn't necessarily have to be value added programs, but I would encourage you to look into value added programs. It doesn't hurt to talk to one of those third-party auditors. Again, the IMI person that I've talked with at IMI Global is Erica Valdez, and the Technotrack is John Sparks. Very knowledgeable individuals, extremely polite, extremely helpful, and I would definitely say reach out to those guys and take some risk. Take some steps in bettering your operation. And like I say, it can only serve to benefit your operation. I appreciate it. Any questions?
Yeah, we have one question to start it out. We have, so how long do you have to work on your added value program before you see its value?
I think that depends on the operation. Again, I think it goes to some of those things that I talked about as far as the genetics, your vaccination protocols. Those things will speak. Those things sell themselves. And so if you're doing some of those things already, it would, one calf crop you could see a significant difference.
And then another, so if you have someone come do that, yeah, that is kind of a nasty word, the audit. If you have them come to your place to do an audit and they find that you're keeping your vaccines on the truck dashboard in July, do you have another option to get another audit if you fix your stuff?
Yes, like I say, I don't think they write you off by any means. Again, they are there to help you get certified. They want your business, but they want to see you succeed also. So they're there to help you get certified. So say there is an issue. I don't know if it's a pass or fail type of a thing, but they want to see you succeed. So I think definitely they'll come back.
Okay. And then another, where can we find the 2018 Responsible Beef Exploration?
I can share that link
In the chat? You'll put that in the chat?
I'll find that and share it in the chat.
Okay. And I have, we had a question in the chat about where and when will these recordings be available. They'll probably be available in about a week or so. They get slight editing. And I got an ask in as to exactly where, but I think that we can send out a note to attendees when we have that, because right now I think we just have it as a calendar event. And so we can email the attendees when those are up. So if you missed it or you missed part of it, you will still be able to go back to them. Do we have any other questions for Nate? Thank you very much for a great presentation. You kind of covered some of the stuff that questions were asked about earlier, so hopefully that answered some even more.